Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for today's virtual field day with Bayer of Woodland. I'm Joseph Montoya, the Farms Leadership Coordinator for the Sacramento Valley and San Joaquin region, and we're joined today with Lisa McDaniel of Bayer and Chao Ming Lee and a few more friends from Bayer. We were able to have a really cool field day in person at their facility in Woodland last year, but due to restrictions, we're going to be doing this virtually today. With that, if we could get a little bit of an introduction from you, Lisa, and your background, and a little bit of what Bayer does, please.
Yes. Hi, we are happy to be here, and sorry it's this format. I guess everybody's kind of getting used to it, but if we have an opportunity in the future and you have interest, when things open back up again, we'd be happy to host you in person. So keep that in mind. So my name is Lisa McDaniel. I'm the head of outreach and engagement at Bayer. I've been with the company and its many mergers for many years, and during the career panel portion, I'll share more details about that. But I can tell you at your age, I had no clue what I was going to do. And kind of throughout my career, that was the case, but I've been able to do a number of different things, all at the same company or again, the different versions of throughout the mergers. But we're going to show you a video about what we do at the, it tells you about Bayer, but it also kind of hones in on what we do at the Woodland site, which is part of Bayer Crop Science, the vegetable seeds division. And one of the things that we aim to show you in the video is kind of the breadth of careers that are available in agriculture. It's the whole gamut. And, I'm even listening to some of you talking about like engineering, and we have like automation engineers that we're now hiring at our site. So if, you think about agriculture, it's not just a farmer in the field. There's it's a really broad expanse of the different types of career opportunities that are available. So keep that in mind as you're watching the video. And then we have a pretty diverse panel for you to speak with today and ask questions and learn from, and it might help inspire you for a career direction. So, or at least not to be nervous about it, right? I know when I was your age, there was so much angst about it. I know you get that question a lot of what are you going to do? And you don't have to know right now. It's okay. So I hope you can take some comfort there too as well. So, all right, let me share the video. It's about 20 minutes and I think it's engaging. Is that Kyla?
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the Bayer Vegetable Research Station in Woodland, California. Now, most people think of Bayer as the aspirin company, which is accurate, but we are so much more. In addition to the Consumer Health and Pharmaceuticals division, we also have a crop science division that includes vegetables. And our research site in Woodland, California is focused on developing improved vegetable varieties for growers and ultimately consumers. So today we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to bring a variety to market using tomato as an example. So you'll meet our researchers and agriculturalists involved in a myriad of activities with the aim to bring the most innovative vegetable seeds to farmers and offer consumers attractive options in the produce aisle. We hope you'll enjoy the visit.
My name is Jennifer Peterson, and I lead our Bayer Vegetables Global Accelerated Genetics team. In Bayer Vegetable R&D, we create new varieties in over 20 crops. In each of these crops, we need to breed for different kinds of traits such as disease resistance and plant architecture that are important to farmers, and traits such as flavor and color that are important to consumers. It takes 8 to 10 years to develop a variety that has all of the necessary traits for farmers and consumers. And meanwhile, in that same time period, our environment is changing. New races of disease and pests emerge, and consumer preferences evolve. So we use different technologies to help us speed up our process, to find the traits we need, and to go quickly to get them into high-performing breeding lines. Sometimes we make a cross between a crop plant and a wild relative to unlock important traits such as disease resistance or flavor. We have a gene bank of crop wild relatives that we use in our trait discovery efforts. For example, while this small fruited wild tomato doesn't have fruit you'd want to eat, it has known disease and pest resistance that we can use in our breeding programs. It takes tens of generations of plant breeding cycles to create a new variety. So we use rapid cycling techniques to go from seed to seed as quickly as possible. To do this, we carefully manage our crop production to have the right amount of plant vigor and stress so that plants can complete their life cycle and provide the right amount of seed to go to the next generation. Luckily, plants are very amenable to this with the right amount of light, temperature, and plant care. In some of our crops, we use doubled haploids to go even faster. So what is a doubled haploid? Using tissue culture techniques in the lab, we can reduce the time it takes to create a breeding line. Instead of needing 5 years or more to create a breeding line, we can create a line in 6 months using doubled haploids. This allows our breeding teams to move much more quickly and to have material sooner for product development and trialing. And now I'll hand things over to our data science team.
Hi, my name is Yujing Cao. I'm a data scientist. I will talk about how we use data science to help grow better crops. When you walk into a grocery store, you see tomatoes in many sizes and colors. You may be curious what causes these differences. Are these differences caused by environment or genetics? If we grow the same variety in different environments, will our outcomes be different? To answer these questions, we need lots of data. Our scientists collect large amounts of data from plants. These data describe key traits of the plants, such as color, size, and plant health. As data scientists, our job is to analyze the data. These analyses help us extract useful information and gain understanding about our plants. Let's use breeding the tastiest tomato as an example. Useful information can be descriptions, estimates, and predictions on tomato flavor attributes. For example, Brix and acidity. The data scientist's job is to understand what causes differences in these attributes among different varieties. To answer this question, we help design experiments to collect correct data. We also implement machine learning and AI techniques to mine the data for insights. These data can take on many forms, such as numbers, texts, and images. After the analyses are completed, we communicate the results with our scientists. The whole data science process is iterative and collaborative. We are collaborating with many teams. Now let's hear the story from our farming team.
Hello everyone, my name is Tyler Meyer, and I lead the Operations and Agronomy team here at the Bayer Woodland site. Today, farmers globally, Bayer's most valuable partner in feeding the world, are tasked with delivering the most delicious and nutritious tomatoes and vegetables to a grocery store near you. As you just heard from Yujing, our breeders and science teams continue to use numbers to drive decisions and look for ways to innovate to increase success. Likewise, our operations teams look to deliver more growing insights from an agronomic perspective. This with technology advancing and automating operational platforms that include the following real-world examples. Our germ houses deliver the exact water volumes and timing to our baby seedling plants with overhead boom systems. The systems reduce the need for hand labor and increase germination rates, impacting our reliability. Greenhouse operations rely on software and sensors for temperature and humidity data to fully automate and control greenhouses year-round. When temperatures drop or rise above optimal conditions during any of the varying seasons, the software adjusts the fans or vents to keep conditions perfect for our growing operations to deliver new products to the marketplace 365 days a year. Once the crops are with our field teams, it's the precision farm equipment through global positioning systems that places that tomato seedling in the exact spot for traceability and later phenotypic evaluations to then produce the data to make the best decision to help our farmer customers. This is now done with transplanters, cultivators, and even today by flying UAV drones for image analysis. Finally, as stewards of the land, we constantly are looking at ways to improve our success at the ground level. The soil is where it all starts. Cover crops and soil amendments help greatly with sustainability of agriculture, including water filtration, weed suppression, and can even help with selecting plant fumigants that can provide insights to our pathology partners for disease selections.
Hi everyone, my name is Evan Pellerin, and I'm the Senior Phytosanitation Specialist here at Bayer Crop Science in Woodland, California. I'm going to talk with you today about disease testing for our vegetable crops. Plants get sick just like people get sick, and you can think of pathology as a group of plant doctors who perform several vital functions in the creation of a tomato product. First, the breeders can send us plants that they think are sick, and we will diagnose them. There are a couple of different kinds of tests that we can do to figure out by which pathogen a plant is infected. There are protein-based tests like pregnancy tests that give you a yes or no result in under 5 minutes. Sometimes we can diagnose a disease based only on morphology. That means we can look at the symptoms under a microscope or put pieces of the plant onto a petri dish and see what grows. We can also do DNA-based tests like PCR or genetic sequencing, similar to what forensic scientists do in TV shows to catch the bad guys. Our second job is to screen plants for resistance to disease. As the breeders create new potential varieties, we will purposefully infect some of the plants with a pathogen to check if it is susceptible. The plant will either get sick, or it will remain healthy if it has a resistance gene. The final thing our team does is a process called disease claim verification, or DCV. As a company, we can't sell a product and just say it has resistance to a disease. We must have scientific evidence that our claim is true. After a variety passes the DCV process, it can then be sold commercially to farmers and consumers. And for more on the breeding pipeline, I will hand it off to my colleague.
I'm Chantal Martinez, a tomato breeder at Bayer Vegetable Seeds. I'm Lynn Rivers. I support both the fresh market and the processing tomato breeding pipelines.
We use all this information from data science and pathology and field observations to determine what parental lines to cross to develop hybrids with the traits growers design. All this information helps us decide what type of tomatoes to introduce to farmers so they can grow them for either consumer to eat fresh or for processing, such as in soup or ketchup. Tomato hybrids first start in the greenhouse, and then we bring them out to the field to test them again, multiple times. We make sure we get a quality fruit with a consistent plant growth and disease resistance, which is important for our farmers and growers. If we find a parent line with a particularly important trait, we can cross it with a different line to develop a new parent. That way, over time, we are able to continuously improve what type of tomatoes are out in the field. And this is really possible to quantify as we get data-driven observations and data points so that we can see incremental changes over time and allow us to produce the tastiest varieties to bring to your table.
After decisions have been made on what new tomato varieties we want to advance in the pipeline, they are handed off to product supply, who will then produce the seed in larger quantities to sell.
Hello, my name is Paula Pomeroy, and I am a research associate for vegetable production research within Product Supply. Product supply is where parental material from the new pipelines will be created. Seeds are the babies of the plant, and in order to have babies, we need parent seed. As the parent seed is being generated, producibility trials are conducted to evaluate how feasible it is to grow that seed at a large scale in commercial fields. Once the parent seed is produced, the team is responsible for producing large quantities of the desired hybrid seed. Seed production can be conducted in open field conditions, greenhouses, or in cages. Since tomatoes are a high-cost crop, it is common to grow them in greenhouses or in cages to ease disease and pest control. This also allows producing different hybrids in the same location without the need for distance isolations. Seed production is a little different than producing fresh fruit to market. Market desired traits not always meet seed production desired traits. The main objectives for seed production are genetic and physical purity, seed germination and vigor, and seed health. When we are setting up our seed production operations, we keep into account sowing windows based on the location, seed destination requirements, production cost and labor, optimal crop task timing. This last one is critical for pollination and the creation of hybrid lines to collect pollen from the male at the right time and introduce it to the female when the stigma is receptive. Once the seed has reached maturity, the fruit is harvested either by hand or with a thresher. The seed gets washed and treated depending on the grower's preference. As this whole process is taking place, the seed gets tested by the quality assurance team to make sure they are of optimal quality and free of disease. We are constantly researching new innovative improvements along the product supply process to maximize usable seed and optimal quality, with a minimal cost and keeping sustainability as a core practice. I hope you enjoy learning about product supply and how we trial different cultivars before they make it to your local store.
Here at Bayer Vegetable Seeds, we're committed to bring innovation and performance to not only our commercial farmers, but home gardeners as well. We know that they need delicious, adaptable, and easy-to-grow varieties, and we're happy to deliver them. I'm Tyler Ash, the marketing and sales representative for the home garden region of Bayer Vegetable Seeds. Every year, the Woodland Research Facility becomes a proving ground for hundreds, if not thousands, of pre-commercial varieties and genetic traits that might be worthy of moving forward for commercial production, for agricultural and home garden usage for North America and potentially even the world. Tomatoes, hot peppers, sweet peppers, watermelons, cantaloupes, honeydews, cucumbers, carrots, onions, pumpkins, eggplants, sweet corn, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, lettuce, beans, summer squash, and winter squash have all been trialed on these fertile grounds, and only the best are selected by plant breeders and product managers for commercial production. Most people experience fruits and vegetables at the final stage. The crunchy bell pepper at the supermarket, that sweet slice of watermelon on a hot summer day, or the thick tomato sauce on their freshly made pasta. At Bayer Vegetable Seeds, we experience fruits and vegetables from the ground up. A technology development representative or a sales representative is alerted of an anticipated trend in a specific industry, whether it's better flavor, a certain appearance, better shippability, or a specific disease resistance that is important to growers or consumers. They tell the breeding team, who then traditionally breeds a hybrid variety using specific parental lines with specific traits that meet that need within the industry. The seed supply is then built up on these selected varieties and eventually sold direct to seed dealers, large-scale farmers or growers, plant raisers, and even packet seed companies. If you walk into a grocery store right now, you'll more than likely, but unknowingly, come across Bayer fruit and vegetable varieties in the produce section, the frozen food section, and even the canned goods section. And some of those berry varieties were produced right here in Woodland. Some of the berry seeds and plants you buy in big box stores and garden centers were trialed, identified, and developed right here in Woodland as well. From the crops you drive by on a country road to the fruits and vegetables you buy at the store, and even the fruits of your labors that you harvest from your backyard garden, traditionally bred Bayer vegetable seeds are everywhere. Nearly every variety that we deem worthy of commercial production must first pass the taste test, and that responsibility is carried out by Dr. Chow-Ming Lee, our Global Consumer Sensory Lead, or Dr. Yummy, as we like to call him.
Hello, my name is Chow-Ming Lee, and I'm the Global Consumer Sensory Lead for Bayer. Some folks call me Dr. Yummy. Bayer is one of the pioneers in developing fruit and vegetable varieties that delight the consumers. You and I are consumers. We make decisions every day on things we like or dislike, whether it is food, non-food, or even services. When it comes to food, our taste experience drives our decision for the next purchase. If it's a good experience, we are more likely to look for the same product again when we shop. We call this repurchase intent. At Bayer, our breeders select varieties to please the farmers, retailers, and consumers. Ultimately, consumers make the final decision that determines if the product sells well or not. Take myself as an example. I bought about 15 boxes of the same brand of excellent tasting fruit across 4 months when they were in season. Our scientists work with breeders and product developers to test the next generation of products using analytical instruments and consumers. Earlier in the variety selection, lab instruments are the best when it comes to measuring hundreds and thousands of samples. That's because they don't get tired like consumers. With the right instrument, we can estimate the taste quality of our variety early in the breeding selection process. As we progress to fewer selected varieties, that's when we call upon our best judges, regular consumers who eat our products every day. We are curious about the impact of different sensations on the final decision. Since testing with consumers is complex, we employ a scientific approach so that we have the most accurate understanding. Participants who attend our taste tests are representative of the population and are users of the product. The test is conducted in an unbiased setup, including a double-blind setting where both the consumers and the servers are not aware of the variety names. Questionnaire is designed with care to assure a fair comparison between our products and the market standard. In addition to our product differences, we are also keen to understand the drivers of consumer liking and the difference between countries and culture. Ultimately, we believe that consumers win when they eat more fruits and vegetables because they are satisfied with the sensory experience.
We hope you enjoyed learning about all the amazing work that takes place at our Woodland Research Station. And next time you're in the grocery store, you'll have a newfound understanding of how this beautiful, tasty, and nutritious produce was developed. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent, terrific. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Tommy, and everyone who went into making this, and all of our panelists today. I think this is a great segue for us to get along with Chow-Ming's activity, I think. Right?
Oh, all right. Can you hear me now?
Mhm.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. And it's going to be screen number 2, and include sound if possible. And share. Please let me know when you see a tomato sensory wheel. You see it? All right. Isn't this beautiful? I have very good people helping me with things like this. And one of them is Lizette. and she's on the call helping me with this game. So the tomato sensory wheel was created, and we sent a copy to each of you, just something for you to hang on to. It was created to describe any tomatoes around the world, or maybe 95% of the tomatoes out there. It's used for going around the external wheel, and you pick the attribute that you can use to describe the tomato. So very easy to use. But today we're going to have a game based on this tomato sensory wheel. So I would like you to take out your Thomas card. So a Thomas card looks something like this. So you have the sensory wheel, and you can refer to it later on, but you also have the Thomas card. Do you have the Thomas card? It's like a bingo card with a lot of descriptors. Okay. I'll let you have a minute or two to find your Thomas card. It looks like some of you are looking for it. Got it. Hannah's got it. Good, good. All right. And let me expand on my gallery view. I only 66 people on my gallery view. How do I make it bigger? Make this bigger. All right. Who needs more time to find the Thomas card? Please speak now. Okay. Assuming that you all have it. The objective of the game is similar to a bingo game. You're supposed to have things across, whether it's diagonally, like this, or the other way around, diagonally up, or you can have it horizontally. Let me unclick this. You can have a horizontal check. If you check all, then you win the game. Okay. And when you win the game, instead of saying bingo, you're going to say, Thomas, I have a tomato that is black, red in color, is oblong in shape, is tangy aroma, has a firm texture, and is astringent. So you're supposed to describe the tomatoes that you want with. Okay. Any questions, comments? You good? Everybody's familiar with bingo game? Very simple, right? Okay, so we're gonna play the Thomas game, and I'm gonna switch gear to the spinning wheel. Let me see if I can find the spinning wheel. I have a lot of things blocking the top of my windows here. Let's see, not this one. The other one, let me see, I gotta go this way. All right, do you see a virtual wheel? And I have Lizette helping me, so she's keeping score of what is being called out. And every time I call an attribute, I'm going to call the first alphabet, which refers to the letter Thomas. So for example, the example that I have on here, T, you actually go to T and you look downward for red, okay, which is the first column. If I call for O, then you go to the second column and so on. Ready? Ready? Let's get going. Let me turn on the sound a bit so that you can hear it, just for the fun of it. You hear it? You hear the tickling sound? M for intense. M for intense. I'm gonna go pretty fast, okay? A for burst. A for burst. A for burst. S for complex. S for complex. S for complex. So S is the last column. Okay, I'm going to speed up now. It's going to go even faster. M for refreshing. M for refreshing. M for refreshing. A for smooth. A for smooth. A for smooth. S for bitter. S for bitter. S for bitter. O for round. O for round. O for round. M for melon. M for melon. M for melon. A for grainy. A for grainy. A for grainy. M for leaf. M for leaf. M for leaf. Are we getting there? S for umami. S for umami, one of my favorite attributes. S for umami. O for pear. O for pear. This is a shape. O for pear. So there are tomatoes that are pear shaped. O for elongated. O for elongated. O for elongated. A for crunch. A for crunch. A for crunch. Is this too fast for anybody? You guys are following okay? Good. Keeping up the pace. O for over. O for over. O for over. A for thin. A for thin. A for thin. M for savory. M for savory. M for savory. T for green. T for green. Do we have a Thomas? No? Okay. M for rich. M for rich. M for rich. T for brown. T for brown. T for brown. T is the first column. A for tough. A for tough. A for tough. O for cherry. O for cherry. O for cherry. S for pungent. S for pungent. S for pungent. Getting there? You need one or two more, hopefully. O for cocktail. O for cocktail. O for cocktail. M for flora. M for flora. M for flora. We got a winner?
Across. All the way across?
Yes.
Cross works?
Yes.
Okay.
Who won?
I've got T, I got green for T, oval for O, shape, S for aroma, or savory for aroma, burst for texture, and pungent for taste.
But did you say Thomas?
Thomas.
Yes. Very good, very good. All right, we have a winner. Good job. All right. Thanks for playing. So now playing the game, hopefully you know that how this wheel is used to. It's used for describing tomatoes. And we simplify into 5 columns so that you can follow it easily. And hopefully one day you'll tell your friends about, hey, we play a bingo game that's based on tomatoes.
Interesting. Is there a tomato that fits all of these?
Yeah, of course, but not all of them at the same time. We pick certain attributes from certain buckets. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. The Thomas card is randomized, so the combinations may not be real.
Interesting.
It's just randomized. Yeah. Okay. And this was actually a project that I gave to Lisette to work on as a creativity project, and she excelled and did very, very well. Yeah.
Is this an example of a variety that Bayer would bring to market?
The random presentation in Thomas? No, it's
Great.
random.
Oval and savory, bursting with pungent.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
It's random. Yeah. It's more about getting to know the tomato sensory wheel while playing a game, rather than finding a variety that looks like that. Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you.
So do we proceed to the career panel and I introduce myself?
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do
Is
it.
that the plan, Lisa?
Yep, sounds great.
All right. So, well, thank you for joining our session on Friday. I'm going to start by introducing myself. And then I have a very quick slideshow to tell you about my experience going from school to career. It's not about myself per se in terms of qualification or anything, but it's more about what I experienced going from school to career. First of all, about myself.
Sorry, Doctor. Real quick, if you wouldn't mind unsharing your screen, and then so we could just see you.
Oh, just see me. Got it. All right, got it. And then
Or you can have your slide deck if you want to share your slide deck.
Okay, slide deck. Yes, slide deck right here. Welcome to real life.
There you
go. But before I get to the deck, just a few things about myself, right? Lisa, that's the plan. A few notes about myself. My name is Charming Lee. I go by Charming. I'm originally from Malaysia. I grew up in Singapore and the US. So I spent my life everywhere. Charming is a name that's based on Chinese. And it means the guy with the golden name. So I'm golden. My job at Bayer, I'm the global consumer sensory lead. And my degree was food science. So I walked into the food science building. I didn't know what I wanted to do at that point. I was 17 years old, freshman. And they took me to this professor and said, here's a major professor. And the major professor happens to be a sensory professor, which is amazing because I love psychology. I love numbers. I love to eat. I was a teenager. I was always hungry. And the sensory lab was the only place where you can eat and anything you can find in the lab, pretty much. Sometimes I eat my professor's experiment. But that's the place where I can eat. The micro lab, no, they won't let me eat in the micro lab or the chemistry lab. Sensory I could eat. So where did I grow up? I grew up, I didn't grow up in the agriculture environment. Actually, my father used to have an electrical shop. So I used to play electrical parts as my toys. And I had the army guy, they would be hiding behind a capacitor, they would be shooting each other and so on. Those were my days. I also assembled all the electrical parts at that time. And how did I become involved? I became involved when I started at PepsiCo, working on Tropicana stuff. And before that, I actually worked on peanuts and almond, and then I also worked on soybean. So I've been working on agriculture products for quite some time. And my master degree was actually on milk, so that is also related. And my team, as you can see in the video just now, we deal with consumers. And the reason why they purchase certain things. My favorite part, flavor. People. Flavor is fun, and people is fun too. If you know how to work with people, it's fun. And I have exciting projects coming up in the 2 months. We'll be testing with people from in France, in Poland, Netherlands, Germany, Australia, Canada, and the US, all within a month. That is a diversity of people. Yeah. And Lisa, how much time do I have?
Couple more minutes.
Couple more minutes. Okay, I should get started with my welcome to real life deck. So
and then we'll have time for the students ask questions too. So
okay, good. Okay, all right. Welcome to real life. Okay, I made this just out of my fun time, just to take you through what are some of the surprises I had in my life when I graduated and went back to Malaysia for my first job, or when I first joined corporate America after my PhD. So hopefully you learn a few things and not suffer like me, because I think I suffer a bit but for not knowing certain things. So let me start with, first of all, the university industry. So you guys are going to the university, you graduate one day, and then suddenly you're going to go into the industry and kaboom, oh, this is very different from school, okay? So the first thing I experienced was from after graduating, I was 22 years old, graduated with my master degree, went back to Malaysia, And then realized that I did not have the endurance of my parents. They were going from 0700 to about 1900. That is a 12-hour day, every day. And then Saturday, a few hours, Sunday, a few hours. I was not prepared for that. Okay, even if corporate America is 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, it's still pretty rigorous compared to school. So that's one thing you want to be prepared for. Always curious, always ask questions, always wondering what is next. What can I learn next? What are the things that we are missing here? Always asking questions. Create solutions, not problem. When I have a problem, I go in with 3 solutions. That's the mentality. Always come with solutions. So as soon as you say we have an issue here, I say, okay, you can tackle it this way, or that way. You have to be reactive to come up with solutions, and that makes you a good team player. Multitasking too. In a corporate setting, there are always things coming your way in many directions. It's not going to be focused on 1 project or 2 or 5 projects. It's going to be a lot of projects. My network, for example, is 100 people. I work with 100 people. And sometimes I cannot remember all the names. I actually need a computer to help me to remember all the names. Yeah. Computing is cheap. Do not waste your time. This is an exaggeration, okay? But at least in front of me, I have 2 screens. I have all the help I get from all the software and so on, just to make me 2 charming, if possible, if not 1.5. Never waste your time. If whatever you can do in terms of software, in terms of hardware, use it. It is super cheap now. More memory, more RAM, and so on. Control your emotion. At work, there's no room for losing your emotion. You got to be in control all the time, every meeting, every hour, every minute. It's tough, it's not easy, but you got to develop that ability to control your emotion. We are equally smart, just in different ways. It's how I think every time. I appreciate everybody around me. I appreciate the lady who gave the vaccine shot to me. I saw her, I said, I'm so glad to see you, because I appreciate her. You know, I see the custodian. I say, thank you so much for helping us. And I talk to her. I will say, hey, try my melon. How was it today? How was it today? Have a try. Have a sell. You know, so everybody is smart, just in different ways. Continuously improve our processes. How many of you know who this is? No?
Nope.
This is Edward Deming. Edward Deming is a TQM guru. He helped Toyota. He helped make Toyota today. Without Edward Deming, there's no Toyota. That's how important it is. His picture at some point, I don't know about now, was hung next to the CEO of Toyota. So for me, the mentality is, if I do it this way today, can I do it faster tomorrow? Can I do it better tomorrow? Can I do it with less input tomorrow? That's always the thought. And that's why when you work with me, you're like, Xiaoming, that was not what you showed me yesterday. Yeah, I thought about it, and I tweak it. Okay, overnight, I may change little things. Do you speak data? It's very important. Nowadays, it's a lot of data speak. So the more you know how to deal with data, whether it's Excel or whether it's statistical analysis, every bit helps. Even with knowing a bit more about Excel, how do you handle things in Excel, that will be a big plus. And working across cultures is what I do every day. I tell my kids, oh, Daddy today went to France, and then I went to the Netherlands, I went to Germany, then I went to Canada, and I came back to the US, and in the afternoon I spoke to the China. So it's working across culture. You got to be sensitive, you got to be adaptable, and you know how to work with different people. And then you win as a team. So all this come together. Hopefully one day you'll be successful. I think you'll be successful, and you'll win as a team at work and a corporate environment. And most importantly, always have fun at work. My saying is, I come to the workplace to have fun and maybe work. I'm just kidding. I work like crazy, but I also have fun. Okay, and that makes working less stressful and more fruitful, and you'll go home happily satisfying your passion, and you come back the next day fresh because you have fun. That's it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I think what we're gonna do is let's go ahead and pass it off to another professional, and then we'll open it up for the Q&A portion after we've heard from all of the panelists. So go ahead and choose who you'd like to go next.
We're going to start with Kyla, and I have the slide deck I can share, and Kyla can talk about their career path. Welcome, Kyla.
Hey there, everyone. How's everyone doing today?
Excellent. Thanks for asking.
Very nice.
Okay. Am I up? Can you see?
Not quite yet.
Oh, okay. An extra button. There we go. Okay.
All right. So my name is Kyla Johnson. I definitely feel a little called to share a little bit more about kind of just how I ended up where I am, and impress upon everybody just how little I knew where I was going when I started out, and how even to this day I maybe don't exactly know everything that I might be looking forward to in the next 5 or 10 years, maybe even the next 1 or 2, if we're completely honest. But let's go ahead and just slide on into this. So first of all, a little bit about my education, at least. So I went to Arizona State University, and I got my bachelor's in science, applied biological sciences, and I specialized in sustainable urban horticulture. So going back a little bit further, I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. I am the oldest and the only daughter, and there's 5 little boys underneath me. So I definitely felt like there was a really big calling to do the best that I could, as often as I could, just because, there's always eyes on you. So moving forward to, my freshman year of high school, it's the time when you really, really have to start focusing in and asking, what do I want to do with myself? Who am I? Where am I going? And this time was very pivotal, at least for me, because my youngest brother was born like the summer right before I entered into high school. And I was really focused on, all of the brand new life that was coming in my way, and I met a lot of great people, and I started thinking a little bit more about, that life. And I ultimately became a vegetarian and had a mini existential crisis my freshman year of high school, just under this whirlwind of what's next and how can I make things better. So I decided I was going to have as much fun with it as possible. I started joining different creative foods classes and stuff in high school, and just kind of enjoyed it whatever I could with all of my time. I had moved so many times and so often that I really just wanted to make great connections and kind of solidify who I was. Flash forward just a couple more years, I had to definitely make some micro adjustments and reassess, how will this calling that I've got towards me of at least trying to make the world a little bit better, how can I do that in a way that's a little bit more direct? And I kind of decided, what better thing to do than to try to educate or to try to teach other people, try to put some sort of a light bulb, in somebody's eyes, in their head, of what they could be and how we can better drive that greater future. So it was definitely, I won't say that that's where I ended up. Obviously, I'm not a teacher. I didn't end up following completely through. And ultimately, before I landed on my final career choice, I had swapped between a culinary arts professional to midwifery, and delivering children and babies, and then I moved on over into education, so there's definitely like, you learn how that chain reaction kind of flows, but you don't necessarily notice these things until hindsight hits you, right? It's like, wow, they're all interconnected. It's just, you wouldn't notice these things. So definitely take stock in who you are in the moment, realize that your path is being developed as you go. You just don't necessarily see it. So throughout that entire time, I almost purely worked in the food industry, and I did all sorts of good things. So much fun. I worked everything from fast food. I did catering. I worked at grocery stores. I ended up working behind bars at Whole Foods, of all things. You know, being a cheesemonger, I learned so many fun things. And ultimately, one of the greatest things that I've ever been told is, don't worry about it. Take your time. You know, when I asked my professor, what's next? He just said, this is great. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about it. You'll get there. So I just want to impress upon you all that is probably the greatest takeaway that I could have gotten out of my life, is that I never had to worry and I never had to be concerned about where I was going, because the path was already laid out for me, whether or not I knew it. Lisa, can you move over to the next slide, please?
Sorry.
Perfect. Thank you. So now that we've gotten to this place, I ended up moving out here, and I took one job at the very beginning as soon as I came, and it was a landscaping job. You know, I'm fresh out of horticulture. I don't necessarily know what I'm going to do with myself. And the one thing that I learned in that job was that I had limits. I was trying to throw myself into something that I didn't want to do. And I kept pushing myself to do these things, and the passion just wasn't there. So I realized, you know, let me go ahead and reassess my audience. Let me go ahead and figure out who I want to talk to and what will make my day a little bit more fun, enjoyable, you know? And so I kind of took stock in figuring out what my passion was, and like really what out of horticulture did I enjoy the most. And I realized that I wanted to grow things, grow connections. I wanted to grow food. I wanted to grow myself ultimately. So that is, when it comes down to it, all about what my department is. And so what we tend to do within protected culture, this is greenhouse production. We grow vegetables to seed. We get to be able to advance the plant material and play a very, very foundational part of the entire site within our Woodland Bayer site. And from there, I get to kind of play that collaborator and work with all these different people and make those kinds of connections to ensure that we're all on the same page and we all get things that we want. And so my passion of being able to communicate and connect with different people kind of ignites and kind of goes even further with this passion of being able to care and grow and cultivate plants. So I love all the stuff that I do, and I'm really, really grateful and blessed to be able to do it. Next slide, please, Lisa. All right, so just to encapsulate some stuff, obviously find your passion. I just want to reiterate that. That's probably the most important thing that I could say. But as for me on my day-to-day kind of work, just so you guys at least understand what kind of drives the things that I do, that makes me feel the way that I do about what I do. And I know that on this right side of the slide, I just kind of posted some things that ultimately include the actual job structure of what I do. And on the left side, I kind of got to, I went down to what that means to me personally in my day-to-day life, and being able to cultivate that passion for me. So if you look over here, I mainly manage all of the space allocations. I manage all the specialty crops and all of our pepper trials in our greenhouses. I get to collaborate with all sorts of people to understand the different goals that we have, and I get to ensure that all of our greenhouses are prepared and ready, and everything is coming in on time. I do so much communication with so many different people, And I do so many different types of jobs in my one role that everything is always exciting. Everything is, I get to find a new passion almost every day, you know, to do something, find new motivation. And I think that that's really important for us on a day-to-day basis to be able to do these things. I love being able to work with all the plants that I do, different sorts of weird plants and all sorts of really cool critters and stuff that I get to both eradicate and work with as predators, you know. So I get all these really cool details in my day that kind of just get swept under the rug in the grand scheme of what might seem like the details of my job. But it's those little tiny things that we push forward as what drives us, right? Those little tiny motivations of being able to see a cool bug at the end of the day, or staying late an extra 30 minutes so you can go ahead and walk this greenhouse with this person that just came on and you got so much passion for the project. You know, there's so many cool things that you really just need to look a little bit deeper to be able to find that passion and motivation towards doing. And I don't want to detract from how important that is. So I think I'll end on that and let Paola go. So thank you all.
Thank you, Kyla.
Of course.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome. So my name is Paula Pomeroy. I am from Central Mexico. The state is called Zacatecas. I moved to the United States in 2009, right after graduating from high school. And I started at the Woodland Community College in Woodland. When I started there, I had no idea what I wanted to do, just like some of you don't have any idea, or some of you have some sort of idea. I actually was more inclined towards the social science, and that was my idea, to go either for a law degree or something like that. But as one of my side things, I volunteer in the greenhouse that the Woodland Community College has available on site. And I took one class of environmental horticulture and did not look back. I was pretty set. I love plants. This is the career path that I want to take. And I narrowed it down. I was like, okay, I want to work with plants. But what with plants do I want to do, right? Because working in the industry has so many options, so many options. You can either work in the greenhouse, work in the field. I briefly worked in a lab running assays nonstop. So there are several options of what you can do within agriculture, right? After I decided more or less the path that I wanted to take, which I was very driven towards environmental horticulture and sustainability, I transferred to UC Davis, and I was decided, like, I want to do ecology and conservation ecology, right? That was until I did my first internship. As you can see in my picture right there, I love going hiking and being outdoors, but conservation ecology is a whole new alley, and I was like, ooh, this is not for me. Going hiking for days at a time, backpack, and not being able to shower and sleep in a bed for several days. No can do. I'll do that for fun, but not for my career, right? So I actually changed my gear. Very international agriculture development was my end path. And that was just based on me taking a couple of classes and being able to collaborate with people from other parts of the globe. That was like one of the things, like, oh, that is so cool. I can meet with someone from the Netherlands, and you know, they have a lot of glass houses, or just things like that. Then after I graduated, I was very lucky to get hired. By then it was Monsanto, now we were Bayer. And like I mentioned, I started as a lab technician. So I was running assays such as ELISA, PCR, blotter box assays. And when we will have a detect within the lab, we then will take those suspect plants and see if the pathogen was still viable, because sometimes with ELISA and PCR, you can detect a pathogen, but that does not mean that the pathogen is still alive. So we will take that into the greenhouse and inoculate plants, try to make them sick. So if they got sick, well, the plant is not resistant, and the virus is still present within the seed. And that was one of the last stops, right? Like, there was breeding. If they do not pass the quality assurance, well, it's not safe for us to release it to the market, and that's the end of the line for for that material. I also used to do grow outs. So what a grow out is imagine a greenhouse with hundreds and thousands of plants. Like for one material only, it was about 30,000 seeds. And that was just to make sure that all the seedlings germinated without disease expression. And again, just to assure that when we're selling, the seed is of the highest quality and free of disease. After that, I transitioned into production research, which that's my current role. And that was just because I missed being more in touch with the plants. Like in the lab, I got to work with the seeds and the plants, but it wasn't my day-to-day. It was like if the material was sick, then we'll take it to the greenhouse. But I wanted the being in touch with plants on a daily basis. Like that. I just love it so much. And I also like to be outdoors. So in my current role, during summertime, I am in the field most of the days. During winter, I work from home, just planning and the logistics and making sure everything was ready to go for this coming season. And one of the things that I love the most about my job is working with new technologies. So that's highly encouraged. In the picture in the bottom left, you can see my teeny little drone flying over my onion trial field. In the picture in the middle, it's also our home garden on site. That was last year, but we have this every year, and it's just gorgeous, like the diversity that you see with colors, with the flowers. The usage that we have for the drones in the field, it's tremendous. So just to give you an idea, we will go to some fields and scout for disease. And this will take several hours, like 4 or 5 people, several hours scouting the fields. And you cannot even scout the entire thing because some of the fields are 70 acres or something like that. So when I go out with my drone, I can fly the entire 70 acres in 30 minutes and then just plug the hard drive into my computer and look at the pictures. I was like, oh, this plot looks a little funky. Let's go and check it out. Instead of having to walk the field for hours and hours and hours, technology has come a long way. So that's one of my favorite parts, playing with new technologies. And the other side that I really enjoy a lot is interacting with other teams at the global level, sorry. So I have a really good connection with people in Argentina and Chile, the Netherlands, just because we're all working towards the same goal. It's different areas of production, but we do the same thing. So sometimes you might be facing a problem that you cannot think for the solution the same way someone that already has been through it 3 times. So it's very good collaborating with them and asking them like, hey, I heard that you were conducting this research or this trial. Can you tell me how that went down, your mistakes? Like Xiaoming was saying, how can I improve it? You did that, not that I want to top you, but I want to learn from your mistakes and what can I do to improve it, right? So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And the other part that I love, and I feel like it was the right choice for me to be in agriculture, is just to learning from the growers and the production team, like the people that are actually in the field. I go in there to take notes and I'm back in my truck driving back to site. But the people working in the field, they put so much effort and such a hard work, like never take for granted the work they do because it's amazing. And they're always very willing to show you what they do, show you their ways. So yeah, that's the favorite parts of what I do on my day to day.
Excellent. Did you have another slide? No, we didn't. Okay. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Okay. Well, quickly go through. I mean, I've got the longest history here, I think. But, a similar story in the sense that, when I was in high school, I had no clue what I was going to do. And I kind of, momentum carried me to college. I went to high school in Half Moon Bay, and then I went to UC Berkeley. And again, it was kind of like just the momentum of, that's what my friends were doing, going to college. And, it was kind of an expectation for my family. But when I was in school, I didn't really know what my major was going to be. And I thought, maybe teaching, but it was just more like lack of, I don't know, imagination of what I could do. And I did pursue social science, Paula, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So after school, I met this guy who turned out to be my husband. And we did, we took a year-long trip, traveling the world. And then eventually we, had this cutie over here, she's now in college. Time flies, but I did start, after we returned from our trip, I needed a job. So, back in the day, you'd go through the newspaper, you'd circle things, you'd apply. So I got a job as an administrative assistant for this company, this little seed company in Woodland. And I'm like, man, these people take their vegetables so seriously. I was amazed. But I ended up, staying. And so I've been at the same site in Woodland, but I've seen it through, all these different mergers, and I've been able to, grow my career all in the same place. So from being an administrative assistant, I told my manager, like, this isn't what I'm going to, I want to do the rest of my life. I need to, find something else. And he was a great manager to work for. And he kind of mentored me into this communications role. And then from there, I sort of moved into finance. And actually I was in finance for the most part of my career. I've never taken an accounting class or anything like that, but I did finance for 15 years, just learning on the job. And then from there, I was kind of, thought, what else could I do? So there was an opening for an operations role for, site management. So employee services at the site, which was good fun. And then this global role came open on outreach and engagement. So that's what I do now. And it's a global role, but I have a lot of focus on the Woodland site. We're trying to open a STEM lab, coordinate a lot of volunteering. We coordinate this kind of activity. Happy to do that. Big focus on sustainability efforts these days, as well as, during the pandemic, I've had the opportunity to kind of refocus a lot of efforts towards employee engagement, since it's harder to do external things. But so a lot of opportunity, all in the same place. So I credit the company for allowing that kind of change, in role. And I've had, great managers along the way. So I think that's it for the presentations. We do have a couple other people on the line if they wanted to, share a little bit about themselves. So both Pam Dickerson, she's our outreach coordinator. She helps me with so much. And Ruby Asoro. Ruby is actually our video editor. So between Pam and Ruby and I, we put the video together, and Pam did so much coordinating with the teams to get the video organized. And then Ruby did an amazing job of putting it all together. So Pam, do you want to say a few words, and then Ruby, and then let's go into Q&A?
Sure. I'll just be real brief. I also worked for Bayer for a long time, and before that Monsanto, and before that Calgene and Davis. So I've been through a few reiterations of the company. And I started out really long time ago. I'm really old. Before the internet, I was a travel agent. And so when I graduated from high school, I started college, and the program that I was passionate about was not funded anymore. And so I was kind of lost. What should I do? I don't know what to do. And I thought, well, I like to travel. So I went to a trade school. And I guess much like now they have trade schools for mechanics or, jobs like that, where it's a finite amount of training and then you get a job. That's how it was back then for a travel agent before we had the internet and we had to do everything manually. So I wanted to travel. So I went out on a limb and I went to that school and I became a travel agent. And I did that for many, many, many years. And in that role, what I learned about myself is that, maybe something, and this could happen to you too, that you don't really know you have this, but, maybe I have a talent or an interest in arranging things. That's what a travel agent does, is arrange things. And so it kind of spread out to arrange other things. And I worked for a corporate travel agency, and they happened to they happened to use what was Calgene back then, and they wanted someone to work in-house. And so I went there, and all I did was travel for the people at Calgene, which is kind of the same. It's an ag company, much like Bayer is now. They traveled all over the world, and it was super interesting. And I learned a lot about ag that I had no idea, no interest, no desire. That wasn't anything part of what my career was going to be. But again, I got to learn a lot about the world and a lot about some really cool, interesting people. And so I would really encourage you to be open, because even if you don't have an idea, try something. You know, even if it's not enrolling in a formal program or something, try something and see what your passions are, see where it takes you. You know, as I evolved from that role, then I became an administrative assistant. I supported the site lead. I also supported HR, which I knew nothing about. But if you're willing to work hard and be adaptable, multitasking, Xiaoming, I think, mentioned that. That's a huge asset to most jobs. You do have to be really focused. You know, you don't want to carry it too far. I know your generation is really good at it, but it's an asset, you know, in a job market. And I wanted to compliment all of you. I thought that you were all really articulate about what your plans are, whether you have something specific or not. That being able to communicate what your thoughts are to someone is super important. So continue to work on that. You all sounded great, but I really stress that enough. No matter what you do, you have to communicate. And I think if anybody's hiring people, they want to know that you can work as a team, that you can communicate with people, and that you're open to learn. So if you can master those things, you can do anything. Take it away, Ruby.
Wow, that's hard. That's really hard to take to go from there, right? But hi everyone, I'm Ruby Asoro, and my background is in communication. I had my bachelor's and master's degree in development communication in the Philippines, and I also did my master's in journalism and mass communication in Iowa State University. So as I guess just coming from what everyone has said, like in my case, high school, when I was at 16 years old, I really needed to decide my career. Like I need to choose a college for myself. And at that time I thought, oh, I love animals, so I would want to go to veterinary science, right? But then there's the reality that somebody told us, like, you know, there's more science, there's more math, and reality wise, I'm not really good with math. So, and I just wanted to be able to finish college. So there's this new course in our university, and I said, I will just try this, you know, just a stepping stone. And then I learned to love it. So that's how it was. And in terms of agriculture, I guess I've been career-wise, I've been working with an agricultural company all my life, I guess. My family is not into agriculture, but I grew up in a hometown, which is we call it a science and hometown. I mean a science-based community. So that's how I've been into science communication. So that's my major. So as Pam said, at this point, just at least a starting point is to, you know, follow what your passion is, just to learn about what you do. And then I guess one thing to take from all of we've been saying is that be able to work with teams, also be flexible. Like in my case, I've been very fortunate to work with a diverse people, and I'm really I get to work with smart people as well. I get to learn from them. And I guess in case of our projects, I guess what I'm excited about is being able to communicate what we're doing to the community. So I work with Lisa and Pam with outreach. So that gets me excited also, to just be able to reach other people also, and as help our team with communicate what they do. So I guess briefly, that's what I do in the company.
Thank you, Ruby.
Thank you so much. So, you know, I actually have a few questions built up. One's going to be very simple and quick. Next one's going to be a little bit more personal for all the panel. And then the last one's going to be a little bit more serious and personal. but I think hopefully you guys will stick with me. So first off, I think this question is going to be for Kyla. How did you know that I like spicy? I got the packet I got. I'm not sure if all the students got the same one or if it was randomized, but on the I think it's Scoville meter scale. Where is this at? Is it like jalapeno, habanero, ghost pepper? Like what are we talking here?
Oh goodness. What is that guy? A hybrid flaming fair. I don't know if I would know that one. That one's our all-American selection. That one came and went through the pipeline way before I even with the company.
Uh-oh.
Do you know what that one is by any chance, Lisa? Do you have any information on the seed packaging?
I'm Googling it.
That's exactly what I just did, and it's 500 to 1,000.
Oh, that's a wimpy, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not crazy.
That's nothing, right?
It depends who you're talking to.
Right.
That will make me sweat for sure.
Thank you. Okay, so kicking it up a notch, making it a little bit more spicy in here. So I saw Lisa's map of like just a bunch of different spots, and I want to get a little bit of a background on place that like your work or your life has like taken you to, like around the world, like because you're working in Woodland right now, but like where has that taken you? And I want to open that question up to the rest of the panel after as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. The map I showed was actually personal travel, but for work, I have had the opportunity to travel. I've been to Korea, Netherlands, Spain, Italy, Guatemala, and then of course, throughout the US. To be honest, I was really excited about this role. I took this role that I'm currently in about 2 years ago, global outreach and engagement. Like, I'm going to get to travel, right? Bam, pandemic. Oh, well, what can you do? But I think others have traveled extensively. Cheming and Paula.
Sure, who's next?
Sadly, I'm on the same boat as you. Like, I have traveled for personal reasons, but in my current role, there's supposed to be a lot of traveling, but I've been in this role for 10.5 months. So same idea, no, not being able to travel, but we do have a lot of teams meeting at crazy hours, either 5 in the morning, so we can meet with the people in Europe, or very late in the afternoon so we can chit chat with the people in Asia, but not traveling yet for work, but still waiting for it. Yeah.
I traveled for about 6 years before the pandemic. My best entertainment is at the border control with the immigration officer. They ask me, what are you doing here? Very seriously, And I always tell them, I'm here to taste tomatoes, and their eyes would dilate, like, what kind of job is that? How do I get a job like that? Yeah.
Okay, so where else, Xiaoming?
Xiaoming, where else? I've been to UK, France, Netherlands, Germany, Australia. Oh, Melbourne was nice. Yeah. Let's see. Not Italy. I'm not as lucky as Lisa. I think that's about it. Yeah. All around US for sure.
Sure. Anyone else travel for work, or this position has helped you travel even for personal reasons, just for big vacay?
I can't say that I am a part of that. I actually joined the company as a full-time employee over the winter, and I'm really lucky to be able to say that, because not a lot of people can. But yeah, I did definitely join in the middle of here we are, the pandemic. So I hope to be able to go. I think one of our first trips, we're planning some collaboration with some people down in Guatemala. So I'm definitely excited about that.
That's a great trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be ready for the humidity in Central America. It is sweaty. Terrific. Like you can feel like your body breathing, like you can feel your pores breathing. Like it's just like,
my goodness.
You can't really, but it's like nice though. But like drink all the water.
So growing up in Arizona and then moving out to here to Sacramento, that is already more than enough humidity for me. So I'm still adapting, and I've been here for about 3 years. It's nuts. how you go from literally like 8% to closer to like 50 or 60.
Yeah, last year, the year before was like quite like that. I remember last summer I went to this like art event, and it was I think 10 or 10:30 in the evening, and it was right next to the Sacramento, no, the American River, and it was a sweat lodge, like outdoors.
Yeah.
So yeah, so expect something like that when you head down. It's nice though. It's nice though. It's just,
Okay. I look forward to it.
and do we, Ruby, or let's see, or was it Pam?
Well, I traveled extensively when I was a travel agent. I traveled all over the world, but for work, the only place I've gone to really is St. Louis, which was the Monsanto and is a big headquarter office in Baird. I've traveled there several times for work, but otherwise, no.
Well, where have you traveled? And I don't know, just some places personally that you like and enjoyed.
Oh gosh, I've been to Greece, I've been to Philippines, I've been to Italy, I've been to Hong Kong, I've been to the UK several times. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been all over the United States. So, but back then, like I say, when you're a travel agent, we did get to travel quite a bit. But I'm curious what your intense question is, though. Your next.
Oh, you're ready. You're ready to move on.
No, I'm just curious. It's piqued my interest.
Sure. So the intense question, if everybody's ready for it, is, there's a pandemic, the elephant in the room changed, people's entire livelihoods. And, a lot of people sort of ended up losing their jobs as a result because of social distancing. And, you can't like go to the office. And, given your huge, variety of roles and positions within the same company, I want to sort of refocus this on sort of like job security and how has the pandemic affected you, if at all. I think I had actually spoken and like had a chance to meet some of you at our field day last year. Which was luckily in February. It was just like, right before all this happened. So it was really cool, getting a chance to tour the Bayer facility in Woodland. And so I see, all your faces are still there. And so obviously, you weren't let go. And so I want to know, and so, which is good, right? So I want to know, how has the pandemic affected you? Has it affected you? Has it changed your work? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I can start. I think as a company, and I mean, I'm saying it because I work there, right? But I feel like we did a tremendous job adapting towards the new reality, right? So of course it changed things. We used to have, and just not the down to the business portion of the business, but we also used to have a lot of potlucks and gatherings and get-togethers. That all of that we didn't see, like, or and I don't know, it's part of the job too, trust me, having fun, it's part of the job, work hard so we can play hard, right? So we didn't get to have any of that, and it's a great opportunity for networking, getting to know the people from other departments, things like that. We didn't have any of that this year.
Wait, didn't you sign up for the virtual tasting?
Yes, but I had another meeting at the same time and I couldn't do it. Yeah,
you
I
missed
know.
the virtual tasting.
I ate everything, don't worry. But
okay.
So that was one of the big ones, right? Like, especially for me, like I'm a very social person, so definitely not being able to stay in face-to-face communication was difficult. But our HSE team, like health, safety, environment team, did a tremendous job just, making sure that we follow the 6 feet distance. And then at our gate, we had the security guards checking our temperatures, and we will do a daily questionnaire, like about symptoms. The company was very flexible if there were people that were exposed to the virus, like the 2-week quarantine. If you have to quarantine, don't worry, you'll be back and you'll still have your job. It's not like, oh sorry, you have to quarantine, right? It's like, one of the things is like that we are essential workers, right? Like everyone needs to eat. So just the adaptation process took a little bit, but overall, everyone just contributed their little bit, and just the mentality, right? It's like, okay, it's sunk in eventually. It's like, it's not going to be a month or two, who knows how long. And also, like, most recently, like getting vaccines for, I don't know if everyone on site, but most of us have been able to get access to a vaccine, and that has been the coordination of the team as well. It's like, hey, there's this resource that you can go and reach out. There's a mobile clinic for the farmer labor contractors coming to vaccinate every single one of them. It's not just the people working full-time with the company, but it's also the people that do the magic happen, right? Like the people that are actually working in the field. So I don't know, kudos to, I feel like it was a communal effort from everyone adapting and making it happen. Yeah.
Paola, I want to echo you on the benefits of working for Bayer. When the pandemic struck, one of the things that Bayer decided was 30 days, I think 30 days leave, right? For COVID related.
Yeah.
For employee and contractor. For employee is a big plus already. And when they extended the contractor, I was shocked because you don't get that kind of benefit as a contractor everywhere. And that shows how much they care about people who work here. So I thought that was very, very special.
That was the overall main thing that I was looking forward to, or looking to sort of point out, is that, there's this thing that affected everyone, but everyone for the most part, I believe in Bayer, you're able to continue to function, and it's a requirement, right? Like you are an essential business, I think. Yeah. So, with that, there's a lot of responsibility, but also, the job security came with it. And, you were able to adapt and maintain your roles and continue to, work and, put food on people's plates and et cetera, and all the other things that Bayer does. So yeah, that was pretty much my main focus was,
my program was actually impacted. So my program involves people coming to a taste test. When you have a pandemic, there's no people. Well, there's no gathering in the room to taste. So for about 3 months, actually it took them about 2 months to get ready. So I worked with suppliers, and suppliers were like, oh, we're shut down here. No, nobody is going around. Oh, we're shut down here. And then when things got slightly better, we could do what they call take home. So they adapted. So my program was shut down for about 2 months, but we took the 2 months to retool, relearn. So adapt, what can we do? Can we make something more COVID safe? And sure enough, we came up with a way to test that is using the cell phone rather than a common thing that you keep tapping on. The same, 100 people tap on the same thing. that's spreading COVID. But now you can use a cell phone, right? You vote on your own cell phone, so it's COVID proof. So take time to retool and get ready to fight the next battle.
That's the main focus, is that, Bayer is able to take care of its employees, and then also even its contractors, which, apparently isn't standard. So that's super cool to hear. Yeah, that was my serious question. Now that I've taken up so much time, oh my gosh, we're already technically past time. Thank you all for staying with us. But if there are any teachers or students that have any questions for Lisa or Paula or Pam or Kyla, Xiaoming, questions. Ruby, even. Michael says no. Emily's no. Jen and Jane, I'm seeing no. Owen, no. Juan, where are you? Juan, what's going on, man? Amelia, questions. Joanna?
He had the thumbs up, Juan, right?
Yeah. Anything? Okay. Well, terrific. You know what? In fact, how about we go ahead and do a reverse Q&A now? This is going to be the first time I've ever done this before, but because there's so many of you panelists here, Do you have any questions for, I don't know, teachers or students that, I don't know, you're interested in hearing how they've been adapting? Or even myself.
Yeah, so I would like to know from your point of view, especially in high school, like, I don't know, I remember just being attached to the hip to my friends, right? How you guys been dealing with not seeing your friends on a regular basis? I don't know, what has been the most difficult part for you not being able to go on face-to-face classes? Should I nominate someone? I feel like Emily, yeah, you're smiling, you're nodding. I feel like you're having a hard time, like I would have.
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, I know luckily this generation, we have the internet. We can go online. Like, I have made so many deeper connections through the internet this year with different online platforms. But luckily, my school just came back to full time. Hopefully, we'll stay this way. And so we're getting to see everybody again, but it was rough during quarantine. I know that we all, like, still having to do school and stuff, especially when it first started, was just really hard because you're at home. You don't want to do schoolwork at home. But now we're back at school and it's getting a lot better. So.
Do you guys feel more appreciative now that you get to go back to the classroom and it's like, okay, I'm gonna do well this time or better?
Well, I know I don't know if you were here earlier, but Mr. Montoya was talking about how our site, actually, we get to go outside and it's a smaller community. I think in our class, we have 5 graduating seniors this year from our site in particular. And so it's a tighter community, and coming back to it and all of that now, it's a very close-knit, friendly group. And yeah.
Nice.
Thank you, Emily. Any more questions from students or panelists?
If I could actually, and maybe it could just be a quick 1 or 2 word kind of spiel. What positives have come out of this past year for everybody? Just one quick word, if it is, you know. I mean, I think for me, it's kind of like an awakening, if you will, you know. Like, we've had enough time to be able to sit still, and we're finally looking for the first time through fresh eyes. It's a big positive for me.
Empathy from me. You know, it affected all of us in one way or another, whether or not, you know, our jobs were lost, or you know, we lost a loved one. But, you know, because we were all forced to go, like, worldwide, right? We're all forced to go through this and experience something similar together. I think that, you know, it brought, hopefully, I would think it brings a lot of us closer. So that's one sort of like takeaway for me anyway. Students, feel free to jump in, teachers as well.
I want to say something. To me, this is, oh.
Yes, we can hear you, Amelia.
Oh, Amelia?
I'm so sorry. I was just saying that, like, one of the big positives for me generally, and since this whole pandemic started, is definitely I've learned to appreciate my home and realize like there's truly no place like home. And I've just been able to bond closer with my family, because being stuck in a house with them for ages, for like over a year, not being able to go out. So we were really just all kind of cooped up inside of our house, but we kind of grew closer as a family.
Oh, that's
Thank
nice.
you, Amelia.
Yeah, that applies to my family too. We bought a collapsible table, and we, instead of eating in a restaurant, we've been doing takeout and bring it to the minivan and pops up the table, and we just enjoying it inside the minivan as if we're in the restaurant.
I love that.
And they love it. The kids love it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
I want to leave some words with the students here. To me, this is like my second pandemic. My first pandemic was actually during the Asian economic meltdown in the 1990s, around 97. And that's when I didn't know how to manage money. When you graduate and you get a first paycheck, make sure you know how to manage money. Make sure you know about saving, about retirement account, etc. I know it's kind of very abstract concept. When I was in my 20s, I didn't get it. My father asked me, "Are you saving money?" I said, "What? I'm buying the next video game console." I bought the first PlayStation from Japan, on the first 1,000, and I spent a lot. And I stumbled really hard when I was around 30s. So I don't wish that would happen to you, that you will know how to manage budget with starting with your first real paycheck, and you have a smoother sailing life than me.
So thank you, doctor. And you are a doctor.
I don't see people. I see products, whether they taste good or not.
Did any other students have a response to Kyla's query on the upside of the pandemic?
I would say for me, kind of like closer to what Emily said, I've been able to connect with a lot of people more than I would have been able to. And I had other wacky stuff with like family happen that was kind of unconventional, like loss of loved ones, all that stuff happened. But like through it, you kind of get closer to people who I thought I was like closest to already. And then you really get to know them because you have nothing else to do. So it's good.
That's really nice. Thank you, Owen.
Good, thank you, Owen. Juan, I know you're there. You have to
Still thumbs up. He's still thumbs up. Hasn't changed.
Thumbs up.
Or maybe he's not. Anyone else? Yeah, so any more questions or anyone else? Michael, you always have all the questions.
I didn't have any questions on this. I was thinking more about the changes, and I don't know. I think I enjoyed the visits for everything a lot more in person, but I think I'm saving some embarrassment here in picking up and dropping off the kids. In not having to break the law to get back to school close to like the time that they dismiss from traveling to Woodland from Grant High School. Is like, don't look at the speed limit, guys. I'm gonna drive us back to school now, and we're gonna make it by the time the buses leave. But don't look at how fast, because each time we got a different SUV, and like some of them had like this, like it would show like the speedometer right there. Like, no, we're getting back to school. I'm getting you guys back to school on time. Just don't look at how fast we're going. So I really, but it really does, I don't know, kind of hurt to not be able to take the kids and actually go on these visits, because that was really the amazing way of getting to know them, of just the different ones. We went on the one trip to Full Bellied Farms, and we got to pick the hot peppers, and the child decided to try a hot pepper while we were physically flying down the road, and then nobody had anything to offer him. He's like, oh no, just dying, and so many of the things that we got to do, all the different trips for farms, was just amazing. But yeah, no, there's no embarrassment of of getting pulled over with the kids. And that was actually one of our first trips too. We were right there, right past the IKEA, heading out west for one of the trips, and the traffic was slowed down, and somebody decided to bust out around us, and then we watched them all get pulled over because they used like the shoulder to try to cut around traffic right there past the IKEA in West Sacramento. I was like, we're learning so much about driving right now. It's just an amazing experience.
So funny. Oh my goodness.
Excellent. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good place to end it. Thank you for sticking with us for the duration. We've been on this call for about an hour and a half, almost, or a little over an hour and a half. And I don't know, everyone participating has been, just awesome. And I don't know, it's really just good to hear from everyone. And I was glad that some of the students were able to answer some questions from our professional panel as well. With that, I want to thank everyone for participating and attending today's field day and leadership lesson with Bayer of Woodland. And I don't know, it's Friday and the weather's beautiful. We're supposed to get some rain, but it looks awesome today. So I don't know, I hope everyone spent some time outside, maybe an al fresco dinner or something. And that's it. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us. Happy
Bye-bye.
Friday. Bye.
Thank you.
I hope your tomatoes make it.
All right. Nice job, everyone.